In the ever-evolving landscape of celebrity commentary and social discourse, few moments capture the public's attention quite like when musicians and influencers step into the fray of controversial political topics. Such was the case recently when country music sensation Zach Bryan and popular podcaster Bobbi Althoff lent their voices to the heated debate surrounding arrests conducted by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, commonly known as ICE. This unexpected collaboration, unfolding through a candid video exchange, highlighted not just their personal views but also the broader tensions simmering in American society regarding immigration policy, border security, and the human stories caught in the crossfire. Zach Bryan, the Oklahoma-born troubadour whose raw, introspective songwriting has propelled him to the forefront of modern country music, has never shied away from addressing real-world issues in his work. His albums, filled with tales of heartbreak, small-town struggles, and unfiltered American life, resonate deeply with fans who see in him an authentic voice amid the genre's often polished veneer. Bryan's decision to speak out on ICE arrests wasn't born in a vacuum. It stemmed from a series of high-profile raids that had dominated headlines for weeks. These operations, targeting undocumented immigrants in urban centers and rural communities alike, sparked protests, legal challenges, and a polarized national conversation. Bryan, whose music often draws from the heartland experiences of displacement and resilience, viewed these events through a lens of empathy, arguing that the aggressive tactics employed by ICE were tearing families apart unnecessarily. The video in question, which quickly went viral across social media platforms, began with Bryan seated in a dimly lit studio, his signature baseball cap pulled low over his eyes, strumming a few chords on his guitar as if to underscore the gravity of his words. "Look, I've seen this up close," he started, his voice gravelly and deliberate. "Growing up in the Sooner State, you know folks from all walks, folks who cross borders not for handouts but for a shot at something better. And now, these sweeps? They're not justice, they're just fear wrapped in badges." Bryan's commentary wasn't mere rhetoric. He wove in personal anecdotes, recounting visits to border towns where he'd performed, hearing stories from families divided by checkpoints and dawn raids. He criticized the scale of the operations, pointing to statistics, though he didn't cite specifics in the moment, that showed thousands detained in a single week, many with no criminal records beyond their immigration status. Enter Bobbi Althoff, the podcaster whose deadpan humor and unflinching interviews have carved out a niche in the digital entertainment space. Althoff, known for her really good podcast series where she chats with celebrities in a style that's equal parts awkward and insightful, brought a different energy to the discussion. Her platform, which has amassed millions of listeners through viral clips of her monotone deliveries and unexpected deep dives, often veers into unexpected territories. In this instance, Althoff joined Bryan remotely, her face appearing on a split screen, expressionless as ever but eyes sharp with intent. "Zach, you're preaching to the choir here," she deadpanned, her signature flat effect cutting through the tension like a knife. "But let's get real, these arrests aren't about safety, they're political theater. Families showing up to school drop-offs, only to get yanked away. It's dystopian." What made their exchange particularly compelling was the synergy between Bryan's emotional, narrative-driven approach and Althoff's analytical, almost detached dissection. Bryan shared a story of a fan he'd met at a concert in Texas, a young woman whose father had been detained during an ICE sweep, leaving her to navigate her senior year alone. "She handed me a letter after the show," Bryan recalled, his voice cracking slightly. "Said my song Oklahoma Smoke Show got her through the nights. How do we sing about hope while this is happening?" Althoff, in response, pivoted to policy critiques, referencing recent reports of overcrowded detention centers and the mental health toll on detainees. "I've had guests on my show talk about this. The trauma doesn't end at the border, it echoes for generations," she noted, her tone unchanging but her words laced with urgency. The video's impact rippled far beyond their immediate audiences. Fans of Bryan, who pack arenas with chants of his anthems like "I Remember Everything," flooded comment sections with calls for reform, sharing their own encounters with immigration enforcement. Althoff's followers, accustomed to her interviewing A-listers like Drake with a straight face, appreciated the pivot to substance, praising her for using her platform to amplify marginalized voices. Together, they bridged the gap between country music's heartland ethos and podcasting's urban edge, creating a dialogue that felt organic yet urgent. Delving deeper into Bryan's perspective, it's worth noting how his background informs his stance. Raised in a military family with a father who served in the Navy, Bryan has spoken openly about the complexities of patriotism, loving one's country while questioning its actions. His 2022 album, American Heartbreak, touched on themes of inequality and forgotten Americans, setting the stage for this vocal moment. The ICE arrests, in his view, exemplified a betrayal of the immigrant dream that built much of the nation's fabric. He didn't stop at criticism. Bryan announced plans to donate proceeds from his next single to organizations aiding detained families, a move that underscored his commitment to action over words. Althoff, on the other hand, approached the topic with her trademark irony, but beneath it lay a genuine concern shaped by her own research. Her podcast episodes have increasingly tackled social issues, from mental health to racial justice, often featuring experts who provide data-driven insights. In the video, she rattled off figures: over 10,000 arrests in the past month alone, with a disproportionate impact on Latino communities. It's not random, she asserted. Patterns show it's targeted, and that's what makes it vocal-worthy. Her collaboration with Bryan wasn't planned. It arose from a mutual follow on social media, where Althoff had reposted one of Bryan's subtler tweets on the matter, leading to a DM exchange and this impromptu session. As the conversation unfolded, they touched on potential solutions: comprehensive reform, community-based alternatives to detention, and the role of artists in advocacy. Bryan mused about writing a song inspired by the video, perhaps a ballad that captures the quiet desperation of those affected. Althoff, ever the pragmatist, suggested leveraging their platforms for petitions and awareness campaigns. Their back and forth, lasting nearly 20 minutes, ended on a note of cautious optimism. "Change starts with voices like ours," Bryan said. Althoff nodded, adding, "and maybe a viral clip or two."